So upcoming Friday nights, me and the degenerate boys that we are, we're coming back with the betting show.
You look at the way he bounces off tacklers, the way that he keeps his eyes downfield, his vision, his ability to find holes, his pass catching ability, right? Because he had.
In my lifetime, I'd put him at probably around the 2 area, with, again, the only other person up there being King Ricky.
Anthony Richardson or Caleb Williams at the 111.
Yeah.
So just hit it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of B.S.ing Sports here on the B.S.ing Network, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. Jake wishes he could say that as well as I do every single time, but we'll move on past that. This week's Eagle Recap show is a good one because obviously the Eagles win, and I've got Timmy, my brother, on with us. Tim, how you doing?
I'm doing good. You got a little bit of guest visitor right now, a little Lucas time. But
I love Lucas time. It's amazing.
We're doing good over here. Happy the Eagles won in an ugly victory.
Yes. It was a hard-fought battle there in New Orleans, but they did come out victorious. Before we get into individual player breakdowns real quick, give me your initial thoughts on the game. Go.
Sloppy. I'll give you 3 words. Sloppy, defense, bad offense. 4 word, bad offense.
So it's funny that you say bad offense. Only bad in the term that they didn't score touchdowns and that Jalen Hurts turned the football over twice. That I agree. Bad.
Terrible play calls. Terrible play calling.
Yeah. Another thing we could talk about is I do in fact believe Nick Sirianni still has too much influence on the offensive play calling. I do believe that as well, because we saw different types of play calls in Dallas when Kellen Moore was there. We saw different types of play calls in San Diego or in LA last year with the Chargers with Kellen Moore calling the. So I think Nick Sirianni is too much in on the offensive game plan.
Well, he I watched a press conference on Monday. He took credit for all the 4th down plays. He said they were all made. I made those decisions, but everything else is Kellen Moore.
If that's the case, here's the reality of the situation. He is the head coach. If they go for it on 4th down, it's his decision. So that's probably what he meant by that. I don't know that he was the one calling the play, though. No, I think it's my decision to go for it on 4th down, and then the offensive coordinator brings in a play.
I get what you're saying. I think he said he had set plays for 4th and 1, 4th and 2 that he calls.
And if they're not the tush push, I don't know what the hell's going on.
It was that fake tush push to Saquon Barkley, and then tush push and a couple of draw plays, I think.
I'm curious. I'm glad we're talking about Nick Sirianni because I'm curious what his aversion to using Jake Elliott is in the first quarter. Like, I get it. You want to get 7 points in the first quarter. I totally understand. But going into halftime, it was 3-0, and you had the ball at, I think, like the 26 or 28-yard line, and you went for it and didn't get it and turned the ball over instead of just taking the points and tying the game going into halftime. Not to mention, you had the ball coming out of the half.
Out of halftime, yes. It didn't make no sense. Take the points right there and come out and then go drive. Go down the field and drive and get this touchdown that way. But no, you want to try to be sneaky and get extra points when take the points and end the quarter already.
I 100% agree. Tim Hawkins, I see you here in the comments. Trust me, we're going to get to that. He says, how about Barkley only getting 5 carries in the first half? We are going to get there. I promise you. I have it all pulled up. But let's get to the first thing. I already mentioned his name once because he had 2 really bad turnovers. However, I am going to defend him on the interception, and here's the reason why I'm going to defend him. Big body A.J. Brown makes a tight cut across the middle of the field, and Matthew never gets a shot at the ball. Devontae Smith is smaller, tried to outmaneuver Matthew, and Hurts didn't have time to wait for it. So it was a broken play that turned into a turnover.
No, I agree. After I heard who's on 92.5? Oh, not 92.5, 94.1.
I don't know who it is anymore. I haven't been there in 6 years.
Yeah, he said, well, if with A.J. Brown, he would have cut that sooner and would have been on the white line and end zone with the ball in his hands. As well, Devontae, like you said, try to be sweet about it, try to break his ankles a little bit, and then get the ball. No, you make that cut, take the hit. You're going to get hit. You know you're going to get hit.
Well, I mean, we got to talk about that too.
I mean,
Yeah, a better route is not a turnover. However,
that fumble is
I was about to
on
say,
him.
fortunately, your defense picked you up. Saints go 3 and out the next drive. Then you get the ball back with decent field position. You're on the 40 because the Saints had to punt. Yeah. Get flushed out of the pocket, which for whatever reason, 2 years ago, his MVP season, Jalen Hurts, when he would get flushed out of the pocket, he wouldn't be hesitant. He wouldn't get hesitant to kind of sort of start sprinting towards the sideline. He would keep his eyes downfield, but he was quick with it. This year, it's like he's slowly sliding in the pocket, and this is where the turnovers and the fumbles are coming from because all he's doing is sliding and not getting away from a defender. He knows the guy's there. He just deked him to move up in the pocket, and it like no pocket awareness at all from Jalen Hurts on these fumbles.
Now, my question is, who's really at fault because of that? That I mean, I know it's Jalen Hurts, but they don't practice that during practice. Like you gotta, if you know your quarterback's having trouble reading defenses, or trying to figure out the pressure system, or trying to figure out how to maneuver to get a big run or something, you gotta be practicing during the week for that. But it seems like they want him to stay in the pocket the whole time.
Before the season started and Kellen Moore was hired, they said that they wanted to make a more conscientious effort to keep Jalen upright this season because we see what happens. You know, if Kenny Pickett has to start some games, they're probably going to lose some games. But they want to keep him upright, which means reducing, people hitting him as much. However, if you have a Hellcat Dodge Challenger, you're not trying to use 4 cylinders. You're using 8 cylinders, right? Why take a facet of the game away from Jalen Hurts that makes him who he is, that made him that MVP candidate in 2022? Why put it in his head that it's not okay to run?
Yep.
I just don't get it.
Like Tim Hawkins says, he's always looking for that big play now, and it's not that. Yes, they're going to come, but you need to use your mind first. If you feel someone next to you or the pocket closing in, get out. Take the 5 yards. And move on to the second play. 5 yards to carry every 3 downs is the first down.
Yeah.
Plain out and simple.
100%. Ken Brandt brings up a good question.
Yes, they signed him for 5 years.
It doesn't matter. They signed Carson Wentz, too. That don't mean anything. That literally means nothing. Is Jalen the franchise of the quarterback? He's 35. I think he's like 32-11 as a starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know what else you're looking for from a starting quarterback. He struggles. Yes. Josh Allen turns the ball over more than any quarterback in football. Nobody's asking if he's the franchise quarterback.
Not anymore.
Jalen Hurts is not Josh Allen. I don't want to put it in anybody's brain that I'm comparing Jalen Hurts to Josh Allen. I'm just saying that if Jalen makes a 15% better effort reducing the turnovers, that there's zero doubt in anybody's mind that he's a franchise quarterback. Tim, it looks like you locked up on me. I don't know if you can still hear me or not. Oh, no, there you are. You're back.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on this Wi-Fi, so I could turn off my phone Wi-Fi.
Well, tell Dad to get off the Wi-Fi too.
He's listening, so Dad, get off the Wi-Fi.
But yeah, my point stands. Do you agree or disagree? Like, if he just cleans up 15% of these turnovers, this isn't even a conversation. Of course, he's the franchise quarterback.
Exactly. Yeah. If he goes back to his 2022 season where we lost in the Super Bowl, where he outplayed Patrick Mahomes,
he did.
Yeah,
he most certainly did. Outside of one turnover,
no doubt he would be the franchise quarterback for years to come.
Yeah. Eagle fans who are panicking and like bailing on Jalen Hurts. Look, I know I'm a little bit critical of Jalen Hurts, and I've already said a lot of things that he could possibly do better, and why his pocket presence isn't as good as it is, why he's always trying to take the deep shot. We are lucky to have a Jalen Hurts on the roster. Look around the league. Like, I know that some guys are finding diamonds in the rough here with these Sam Darnolds here, and then Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. Like, but those aren't all the time. Look at all the ones that didn't work out. The Zach Wilsons, a lot of other ones. Trey Lance, that's who I'm thinking of. Sorry. Geno Smith is good with Seattle. Like,
Yeah, but he wasn't when he first got signed.
That's true.
Look at Sam Darnold. He wasn't good when he first got signed.
Exactly.
Now look at him
Jalen has
now,
been good
5,
since the
6
day he
years
got here.
later.
Yeah, Jalen has
Exactly.
been good since the day he got here. He's my franchise quarterback.
Mhm.
Let's see.
I
Tim
won't
says
buy
he
a
doesn't get
jersey,
it
though.
either. Yeah. Well, this is actually a Carson Wentz jersey.
Carson Wentz. Yep,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
know. I got
Um,
a couple of Sanders upstairs, but I won't wear them.
I have a signed Sanders. It's going to go on the wall right over here.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is nice. I got it right after he had that 1,000-yard rushing season too.
Yep.
Josh Rosen, that's another good one. Pop, good call on that one. Tim Hawkins says he does win though, referring to Jalen Hurts. All right, we spent enough time bashing on Jalen Hurts. Let's talk some good about Jalen Hurts. I said it last week on the show when I think it was like the first drive of the third quarter. He tucked the ball and ran on 2 separate plays and gained like 40 yards with his legs. We just talked about why they're trying to make him stop running. There were a couple of times in this game, again, pocket presence, not very strong. However, he pulled the ball down and ran and got first downs, and they were very important.
Yeah, definitely. The one thing I only have a problem with was that he got the skills, but he thinks his hand strength is strong enough to hold the ball when someone else is about to smack it out of his hands. It's definitely not that. He needs to hold the ball with 2 hands.
I would agree with that, yeah. All right. So overall, Jalen Hurts had 8 incompletions and 1 interception. Only 8 incompletions and an interception on the game. 311 yards. Obviously, he didn't throw a touchdown in this particular game. He didn't run for a touchdown in this particular game. He does have the 1 interception. I got to be honest. If you tell me Jalen Hurts is putting up 275 plus a week, regardless of a turnover here and there, I'm taking it because typically it'll come with some touchdowns. Now, New Orleans' defense is good.
Do you hear that?
I'm sorry. It's fine.
Are you sure?
No, it's fine. Yeah, no, it's
Okay,
totally fine.
But yeah, the touchdowns will come. You're going to have A.J. Brown back soon. Goddard would be open more often in an end zone, but he's not getting double teamed because we don't have A.J. Brown anymore. Smith won't be running those cheap routes where he threw the interception on. It'd be A.J. Brown. Like, when A.J. Brown comes back, these interceptions will probably go away, in my opinion. With bad reads, anyway, with the end zone reads.
Yeah, I mean, he had
first of all,
good.
Interceptions will happen at the part of the game. Patrick Mahomes throws interceptions nonstop. Tom Brady threw interceptions. Josh Allen, like, they're gonna happen. But with AJ Brown, they happen a little bit less often because of his hands and body.
Correct. Big body receivers tend to prevent interceptions better than skinnier guys. Yes. Speaking of big body semi-receivers, let's move on to the next topic. Dallas fucking Goedert. 10 catches, 170 yards. He and Saquon Barkley put this game on their back and ran with it.
Needed that.
Saquon quite literally.
Dallas needed this game to prove that he is still it. And maybe Jalen will have more confidence in him now.
I complained last week.
Goddard's facing with probably the third corner or nickelback, you know what I'm saying? The safety up top, linebackers. Get him the ball. Look what happens when you get him the ball. 10 catches, 170 yards, no problem.
First of all, it was 10 of 11. He only had 1 incompletion in his direction. Now, again, Hurts only had 9 overall. He only had 1 incompletion in his direction. But yes, I complained last week on the show in earnest about how, especially with A.J. Brown out, you're not scheming to get this man the football when he could be one of your best weapons on offense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're listening to B.S.ing Sports. I like to think they are, and it worked. That's all I'm trying to say is I said it, and then it worked.
I'm pretty sure I saw a tight end screen there, too, where he gained like 20 yards or something like that. Like,
correct.
Get him the ball, good things happen. Plain out simple.
Honorable mention.
God.
Honorable mention.
Go.
Honorable mention to Britton Covey, who in his minimal attempts at wide receiver this year because AJ Brown has been injured. He's kind of sort of reminding me a little bit of a Danny Amendola type wide receiver where you put the ball in his hands in short distance and he makes more yards out of it.
Yep.
And I'm here for it. I like Britton Covey. Shame he got hurt, but I like Britton Covey, so I'm here for it.
He's on an IR now.
Oh, they put him on the IR today?
Yeah, I think shoulder separation.
Man, that sucks.
He's at least out for 4
Amendola
weeks.
got hurt a lot too.
But like I said, give the ball to Dallas Goedert. Get good things happen. What probably brings you into your next person.
Run the ball with Saquon Barkley. With Saquon Barkley. And
no
good
way
things happen.
No way he should only see the ball 5 times in the first half. No, 0 touches in the first quarter. Like, that's terrible, Kellen Moore. You have to get your playmakers the ball. And he is one of your damn playmakers.
Here's my logic on the first drive for them not to go right to Saquon Barkley. He's rushed for over 100 yards in 2 straight games. So New Orleans, likely, I didn't get to watch the game. I had to watch the replay of it on Monday, and they don't show me. I don't get to watch every minute of it. I only get like the actual run play, so I don't see what the defense is doing.
Yeah.
What probably is happening is New Orleans, the first drive of the game, stacked the box. So Kellen Moore was like, okay, we should be able to beat them on the deep ball. Jalen Hurts wasn't super accurate in the beginning of the game. He was dumping and diving. Poor play calling, I would agree. But I don't care if they're stacking the box. The reason you brought Saquon Barkley in is for when they do stack the box, he still beats them. Which, by the way, in the beginning of the fourth quarter, they stacked the box. And as soon as he got to the second level, he was gone.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you got to get him the ball. Don't matter what it is. Screenplays, handoffs, RPOs, which are Jalen terrible at reading. But
yeah, I'm noticing that too.
You got to get him the ball. No matter what. The first play of the game should be a run to Saquon Barkley 9 out of 10 times.
I would agree. The one time you don't, you play action, throw it deep.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Saquon, 17 carries, 147 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
They came out at halftime, and they gave him the ball the first 3 times. He got the ball, was 10 yards each, 10, 11 yards. Like, this is what happens when you give him the ball.
Tim Hawkins says, not you, Tim, need to take the ball out of Jalen's hands. He should. I think he's saying he shouldn't be throwing 49 times a game. It's not his game. Oh, he does. He made an addendum down here. I don't know that listen, I agree that I don't think any quarterback should be throwing the ball 49 times in a game. Fortunately, it was only 38 times in this particular game. But I don't know that he can't do it. Again, 9 incompletions. I mean,
yeah, he did good.
What's that? 83% efficient? Like,
yeah, after the interception, he pulled it together. He couldn't get the touchdown.
Part of that is play calling, Take the points when my big thing for Nick Sirianni is please start taking the points because you failed 3 times in a row to get points. Like, just take the points.
Back-to-back weeks.
Yeah. So yes, my sentiment is run the ball. Please just run the ball, and then let Jalen do the rest.
Yep.
Moving on to Devontae Smith. Dad has already asked in the comments if he's playing this week. We don't know yet. He's going to be a game time decision. I would imagine he does not play though, because that concussion looked pretty rough. When
the camera went to him like on the field, he looked fine, but
concussion is a concussion.
Yeah, no, the NFL concussion policy, normally you won't be back the next week. They changed it where you used to come back the week after. They changed it where you can't anymore, basically.
Again, I only got to, I've seen tons and tons of replays of the hit at this point and the guy spitting on him when he's laying on the ground. That guy, by the way, that guy just got suspended for 2 games. I saw it right before he jumped on. Yeah. He got suspended for 2 games.
He needed to get suspended for longer. One, that's dirty. No reason for that.
Correct. Yeah, we're going to go into the next player and why he was so worked up after the game. But we'll talk about it because I know you saw it and I saw the replays of it, so we're going to talk about it. But Devontae Smith, 7 receptions, 79 yards. Obviously, he takes the concussion there in the fourth quarter. You think to yourself, where's Jalen going to go with the football? Dallas Goedert for 80 yards up the sideline. That's where you're going to go with the football.
Yeah, I mean, Jahan Dotson was doing pretty well. He took a couple. Jahan Dotson had pretty good routes. I saw it during the game. I get that Jalen don't have no trust for them yet.
He had 2 receptions on that last. He had 2 receptions on that last drive for 8 yards.
Yes.
Yeah,
he has good quick slants. Like he was the slot receiver with the Commanders, so like he had the quick slants and everything. He knows how to do it. And that Jalen got to trust him a little bit more. I think that play where Dallas ran the ball for 80 yards, it was Jahan Dotson slant up the middle that caused the 2.
Yeah.
So, like, he has the ability to be a big player. I guess that Jalen has to trust him. And this week, I think he's going to have to trust him.
Yeah, Tim Hawkins says the exact same thing. If it's not for Dotson, Goddard doesn't get wide open like that. You're 100% correct. And he ran the route perfectly. He did not touch any of the Saints.
Yep.
He ran his route so perfectly that they ran into each other.
Yeah. It happens.
It does happen. Yeah. So, again, another good game out of Devontae Smith to start off the year. That's 3 straight now. Let's move on to this young gentleman, Jalen Carter, who during last week's show, I said if he would just be mean and take control of games, he could dominate them. Again, I don't know if they're listening to B.S.ing Sports, but I like to think they are.
I think they played 60 defensive snaps and he was out there for 52 of them.
Good.
That's what he needs to do. That's
why he drafted him.
Yep, that's what he needs to do. And I love, what was the first thing Dad taught you when you played football? If you can't get to the quarterback, put your hands up. Oh my goodness. He had 5 batted balls, if I'm not mistaken.
I actually have it pulled up right here. He has 2 pass deflections. However, the defense as a whole, defensive line, had 4. Brandon Graham had 1 and Thomas Booker had 1.
Put your hands up. Good things happen. But he destroyed that run game for them. Like he got off of double teams. Even Jordan Davis looked good getting off of double teams. Like they both blew up the right side of that line where Alvin Kamara couldn't go nowhere.
Yeah.
Yes, Kamara had 70 yards, if I'm not mistaken, but no touchdowns. Like, that's what you need to do.
Yeah, you held a guy who scored 4 touchdowns the week before to nothing is essentially what you did.
Exactly. Like Jalen Carter stepped it up when he needed to, and now he had to keep playing that high. Jalen Carter was being recognized as the next Aaron Donald. Boy, he needs to start playing as it.
Well, he did on Sunday.
He definitely did, yep.
Having said that, moving on to the next topic for Jalen Carter. After the game, he was on the sideline seen screaming at some of the Saints players and some of the Saints fans, and he was had to be restrained by Big Dom DeCilio and some of the other players and some of the other security. And after the game, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who also was very vocal on the sideline, put it into perspective for them and said, you saw the dirty hit and everything that happened after that. Like, that team is just dirty. And at first I was like, all right, Jalen, maybe be a little bit more mature. But if that's the attitude he's going to come to the stadium with and he's going to dominate the way he does, fuck it. Go for it. I'm in. Let's go.
So, I saw Chris Long, who played for the Eagles, the Super Bowl run they had when they won it. He said Nick Sirianni, Big Dom, and the lineman coach, let him go. Let him talk. If he's going to be this good, let him do what he wants. Like, I mean, yeah, control him to so you don't get a penalty. But if he's talking to fans, fuck those fans. Like, they're not doing nothing.
No, I'm right. I'm right there with you. I really am. But I agree. Think about it, right? Brandon Graham. Ryan asked me to make a statement on Brandon Graham, and I will. But before I get to that, Brandon Graham has been a shit talker his whole life, and for most of his career, he's been a pretty dominant defensive end.
Yeah,
there's probably something to the way he shows up at the field, arrogant.
Yeah, I love shit talkers, man. Quayon Mitchell, whatever his first name is. I love when he talks shit to the wide receivers. I love it. Like, that's what we need in Philly. Shit talkers. Like,
No, I'm right there with you. Another guy who had a great game, and this is the third week in the row he's led the team in tackles. This literal
He is
gem that we
playing
pulled
amazing.
off of this that we got from the Saints, by the way.
Yep.
Zach Bond and his 13 total tackles, 9 of them solo. And you got to imagine he's tackling Alvin Kamara most of the time. He did it solo 9 times. He didn't have any tackles for loss, but he stood Kamara up at the line on 3rd and short 3 different times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I saw that. Like,
Yeah,
he played really well. For the Saints didn't want him for a reason, and the Eagles gave him a chance, and look what they're doing.
Yeah,
He is
I mean,
being an outstanding linebacker right now.
Yes. All right.
Now,
give me your player of the week.
Jalen Carter.
Okay, we're on the same page here. I'll go because you said Jalen Carter. I'll go Dallas Goedert because Barkley. Barkley had a great game, but he's been doing it since he got to Philadelphia. All 3 games so far. Yeah. Dallas Goedert had 7 total receptions on the season for 28 yards, and then he went for 10 and 170. Dallas Goedert will be mine. Yeah.
For the offense, I like it. So Tim Hawkins saying Reed with Blankenship. The only reason why he's saying that is because he got the game-winning interception.
Yes. Reed Blankenship also has the only 2 interceptions on the season for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with that. That I corner don't get interceptions. The defensive let me give the words. The batting the balls out of the players' hands for incompletions. I take that. I take that any day of the week. I don't need interceptions. Let them punt. Let us go down 80 yards to field. Like, not that big of a deal. We can do it, obviously.
Hussein has a question. Hussein, thank you for joining us over here on Twitter or X. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting what it's called these days. He says, I got a question for you guys. I'm not an Eagles fan, obviously, but I was wondering, what do you guys think about Devontae Smith playing this week if he's cleared for concussion protocol? If he's cleared, if he's cleared, I'm good. Like, I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah.
Because the NFL is at a point where they're not. Yeah, the NFL is at a point now where they're not clearing guys if they're not ready to go. It's not the mid 90s anymore. If the NFL says he's good to go.
Look at 2 years ago. The NFL said that he was good. And then that Thursday night game, he hit his head and he couldn't move for 5-10 minutes. That's why they're doing this. Devontae Smith should not be cleared for next week's game. As the Eagle fan, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. So, unfortunately, Smith shouldn't be playing.
I'm going to say if the NFL clears him, put him out there.
He plays. Yeah, if he plays, then if they clear him, it should take about a week and a half to 2 weeks.
Yes and no. I've had a couple of concussions. One lasted for like a month. The other one was like 3 days. So it really just depends on the severity of it. As Timmy mentioned earlier in the show, I don't know if you were here, Hussein. He said that on the sideline, Devontae Smith looked very coherent. Again, I didn't get to watch the game. I had to watch it later. He said
he did.
Devontae Smith looked very coherent on the sideline.
Yeah. He was. So the camera literally went to him on the field. He sat up. He was answering the questions. He was following the finger. He was doing everything they were supposed to. I think when he got, for instance, look at Lane Johnson. So he got a concussion, and he was throwing up all over the field. He's not playing next week. It's really a severity how the impact how the impact happened to you, basically. Like Lane Johnson, he got head-to-head contact from one of the linemen, and he out for probably 2 to 3 weeks, in my opinion. If that concussion making you throw up so much,
that's rough.
It's bad. But Smith was sitting up. So Devontae Smith didn't get hit in the head. He got hit in the back, and the whiplash happened to him. That's what it was. So I think if NFL clears him, he should play. But I don't think the NFL will clear him because of the new concussion policy.
That's fair. Hussein, again, thanks for joining us here, bud. If you have friends, turn them on to us. We're very objective Eagles fans. I see that you're a Niners fan. Unfortunate that they, have lost 2 weeks in a row. I'm losing this football B.S.ing football pick situation because I keep taking them. It's disappointing.
I'm in last place. I don't want to talk about this. I'm in last place.
Tim Hawkins, Steen and Johnson held up real good on the left side, considering that Mekhi Becton went down, and then Lane Johnson went down. Yes, they did hold up very well. Elias said, yo, I just made a trade in a 16-man league. I traded James Conner, Laporta, and Mooney for JT and Ferguson. Timmy, you're more of the fantasy guru in this conversation. Go ahead.
I gotta know if this is tight end premium or not. If it's tight end premium, I don't think he did that good because James Conner been putting up points. He hit the bell cow for Arizona.
He just got 3 points this week.
And everyone had a bad game.
I know. I'm with you.
But
it's not tight end premium.
No, it isn't. Oh, then, yeah, you won that trade. I'm taking Jonathan Taylor, Ferguson all day.
JT and Ferguson. Yeah, I would agree with that. You're more. As I said a second ago, you're more fantasy guru than I am. But I would agree that I would go Jonathan Taylor.
If it's tight end premium, then Laporta was probably the best player in that trade, and I don't think he got enough in return for James. So James Conner and Mooney basically equal Taylor to me. Laporta and Ferguson don't equal interchangeable. I don't think. I think Laporta is way better than Ferguson.
Laporta hasn't done anything and is now injured.
So it's Ferguson, really.
Well,
he came back.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah. So Diggs, by the way, 7 says, "Hey, what's up? What's up, Diggs? Thanks for joining us over here on the Twitch. I appreciate you, bud." Hussein says, "I have Devontae Smith and Hurts in fantasy this year. That's why I'm kind of really into the Eagles this year." Makes sense. Fantasy football makes people cheer for every game. I'm a huge fan of people playing fantasy football, even if you don't know what you're doing. Play fantasy football because it makes you watch and appreciate every single play.
So LS is talking about his depth now. Mooney was your depth player. That's not good to begin with. Mooney, it's good this year because Kirk Cousins. He wasn't doing nothing last year. I like Brian Thomas once the Jaguars figure out that offense.
You mean once they figure out what to do with Trevor Lawrence?
Once the Jaguars figure that Trevor Lawrence offense out, I think Brian Thomas would be a great play for you, man.
I concur if Trevor Lawrence can figure it out. Now, listen, I wasn't like super high on Trevor Lawrence coming out of college, but for this fantasy football year, I was kind of high on him. I drafted him in 3 different leagues, or I traded for him in a couple of leagues. Like I have pretty decent amount of Trevor Lawrence shares. So it's unfortunate that he's playing the way he is. He says Mooney was his flex, but now he's got to start Brian Thomas. Timmy already answered that. Elias says fantasy football is so fun. Couldn't agree more. Hussein says 100% agree. Give me let's talk about keep the questions coming. We will answer them. I don't care that this is an Eagles recap show. If you guys want to talk fantasy football, put them in the chat. Timmy and I will go back and forth on them. But while we are doing an Eagles recap show, they got the Buccaneers next week. This week in Tampa, which could be some weird conditions considering we have a hurricane ripping Tampa apart on Thursday.
Have you heard anything about Darius Slay with his knee?
He posted on Twitter that he's fine.
Okay. If that defense comes out and play like they did against New Orleans, and we don't have no Devontae Smith, it's going to be another shootout. And no A.J. Brown, no Devontae Smith, it's going to be a shootout. And
it hasn't been confirmed A.J. Brown's not playing.
True, but with our run game, I think we could beat the Buccaneers if Barkley gets 20 to 25 carries.
I would say 20 to 25 touches. So somewhere between 15 and 20 carries and then 3 or 4 screens or something like that. Let him create space for himself. Yeah, I like the matchup against the Buccaneers. I know they just eliminated us in the playoffs last year, and they've looked better outside of this Denver game the other day. But overall, Baker Mayfield's playing really well for Tampa. So it is a tough challenge. But I do think the Eagles are going to be victorious. I'm not going to give you my prediction. Obviously, we have a prediction show. Timmy and I both are in on it. I think I'm in last place at this point because I'm just doing terribly. But we'll
You're not in last place. I'm in last place.
Well, good, because I don't want to be in last place. I'm glad it's you. But yeah. Let's see. Go back to the comments real quick. No, Tim Hawkins, I am not going. Elias says, I'm going to keep asking questions. I don't want to hear about the Eagles. Gucci says wrong. I assume he's talking about the Eagles winning.
You being in last place.
Oh, okay.
No, I think you being in last place.
Oh, okay, cool. Thanks. The Tims are awful at pick'ems. Oh, good. I'm not in last. I like it even better. Awesome. Thanks.
I'm coming for you, Goofy. Don't worry about it.
Hey, you ain't first or last is not true. I don't want to be last. But give me your final thoughts on this past week's game or even the future before we get on out of here.
My final thoughts are Nick Sirianni, take the damn points when you're giving them. 2, Jalen Hurts, get hold the ball better for me. I know the interceptions are going to come. Get hold the ball better for me. If you think you have to run the ball. Fine, I'll take it. Get 5 yards to carry at the first down. Plain and simple. And then my next thing is the defense have to do what they did again last week.
I like those as final thoughts. I think I'm just going to let them linger in the air and everybody can see it. Take the points when you can. Run the rock. Run the damn ball.
Run
Trust
it down
Dallas
the
Goddard. Trust Dallas Goddard.
That's a good one.
Yeah. But you got anything else?
See Ken Brandt comment. So you bring that up real quick. I know it's baseball, but
Ken Brandt says, congratulations to the Phillies on winning the NL East. Gucci and Hawkins are going back and forth over here in the chat. I'm not even going to bother posting that they're talking about making out with each other because the Cowboys lost. But no, seriously, thank you guys very much for joining. For everybody who joined, please make sure if you haven't gone to YouTube, you go to YouTube and you subscribe and you like. I do a recap show every single Tuesday. I have a new guest on every week. Probably just going to rotate the same 3 that I've had, but we'll get around to it. And obviously our other show is giving a jersey away. So make sure that you're following and listening along to them so that you can get in the sweepstakes for the jersey. And do not forget to like, subscribe. And again, please keep talking to us. Even when we're not live, we answer questions. All of us have access to this. Me, Jake, and Ryan are very active. Please, please, please feel free to converse with us. We talk back. Hussein, before we get off, let's go with this. He says, so let's say if Smith and Brown is out. Yeah, it's going to be Dallas Goedert. Dotson might obviously play a bigger role, but it'll be Dallas Goedert.
It's going to be Dallas Goedert and Barkley. It's going to be that show again.
Correct. And I'm here for it if they win. I don't care.
Yeah, true.
But that's going to do it for us here on B.S.ing Sports, part of the B.S.ing Network, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. Jake sucks because he can't say that like I can. I'm just kidding, buddy. I miss you. Thank you and have a great evening.